All right. Good morning. Good morning. It's 6:33. It is 12/8. It is December 8th. I hope everyone's feeling good. It's a new week. What do we got? We got no much time left in 2025. Hopefully everyone's feeling good. Made some money this year. Not putting themselves at jeopardy this last month, but trying to stack some days, end on a good note. It's always good to end on a good note. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Also the founder of Red Dog Mindset. For those of you who did the 25-20 before the 6:30 club this morning, hopefully you're feeling good. Got a little sweat out. I really feel that the 25-20 into the 6:30 club is a really good 1-2 punch in order to get ready for the day. And that's the pre-game. That's before I sit with the alpha team and I do 40 charts before, get into the morning call and do everything else. But a lot of the early birds, love to get up, get feeling good, getting ready for the day. So anyway, here we are. It's Fed week. Market's been grinding. We've been grinding up ahead of the Fed. Last time they gunned the market ahead of the Fed, and then the Fed gave a hawkish cut, and we fell off for a few weeks. The question is, what are they going to do between now and Wednesday? We'll see. You look at the chart of the SPYs. SPYs put a high in at 688.39 on Friday. You have 684.91, which is right around here. We are a little extended from the 8-day. So the question is, between now and Wednesday, do they want to shake it up a little bit and bring it to the 8-day, or are we going to hold in here and all of a sudden work our way back to the all-time high? We shall see. Last time, you had the Fed, they gunned it. They went like these 4 days into the Fed and they were begging for rate cuts, and then this happened. So, with today being Monday, Fed's Wednesday, and then you have between Wednesday, Thursday, which could be very volatile, and then it'll probably set the tone for the rest of December into Christmas. So the question is, are we going to extend through highs through Christmas, or is a hawkish cut going to sell us down? Well, we'll have our levels. Bottom line is, between now and Wednesday, if you want to have parameters, 684.91, where you're a little bit above that. If that were to break, maybe they shake things up a little bit prior, or if we hang here. I don't know. I'm pretty, I don't have that much going on. I don't love, what's happening here in a lot of the Mag 7. It's just the setups aren't great. Ed Yardeni, you guys know who Ed Yardeni is. He came out today and said that he thinks that, the Mag 7 are not going to be the place to be in 2026. That got to go equal weight. You got to go the other 493 stocks. I'm like, well, did he give any names? He never gives names. Everyone always has big generalizations out there. I like to frame trades. I like to give you names. I like to give you setups, and ways to navigate them. That's how we make money as market participants, not with generalizations. But anyway, good morning, Tim. Good morning, Ken. Good morning, Jay Werder. Good morning, Vincent. Good morning, Brian Lamb. Good morning, guys. So as if you want to look at the the Mag 7, it's tough. Apple, we did sell Apple well. Those of you know the Red Dog reversal, you do know it. It went above 287.40 and sold below it. That was your out. We timed that pretty damn perfectly for power plays also, where that was my last sell in the options, and now it's come in. So right now the low from Friday was 278. I would think if Apple's going to be any good into year end, it should not break 275 to 276. If it does, just to change it. It shouldn't have really got down this far anyway. It's fine that it did, but I'm just saying, like, if this was going to keep momentum, which it hasn't, it probably shouldn't have broken 281, which it did. So this is a pretty big spot. So I'm not in Apple. If Apple were to get to 275, 276, I think it's buyable. Apple's down 90 cents right now. Apple's below 278. So I think into this area, you would think it should hold there. There's talk about Tim Cook's succession plan. Somebody left Apple. There's talk about how people are keeping their iPhones for, longer than they did. So anyway, we played this pretty damn perfect. I got to say, we were buying, Apple in here, got above this area, bought the options on that Thursday and pieced out of it. Doesn't always happen that way. But again, red dog reversal sell. If you sold when he went above 287.40 and went below, you get out of the way. You're allowed. That's, you're on your toes. So anyway, see for today, does it stay below 278.05? If it does, the 21 days right here. We haven't been below the 21 day in a while. So that's the 21 day for Apple. So we'll see how it goes this week there. Went from an A+ play, it's like a B- play now. It's just different. Probably doesn't take out this 288. I don't think for the rest of the year, to be honest. Now it's just a tactical trade. So this morning also Jonas downgraded Tesla. Okay, some people are like, Red Dog, what do we do with Tesla now? Why am I still in it? I'm like, well, sometimes I like to be smaller and stay small just to stay engaged. And we were buying Tesla 2 weeks ago really well here, right in this 403 area. It went to 458. Okay, so anyway, this was a great move. Great move, great 2 weeks. Guys made a lot of money. I did made a lot of money there too. I did keep small. So Jonas came out and made it an equal weight. And Morgan Stanley tends to be a bull in Tesla, so it raises a little eyebrows. So right here, this is 445, and then right here is your 8-day. So it was extended. So I tried to be in a little bit just to stay engaged. So I am down in it this morning, small, but I needed to buy more anyway. So first spot to maybe look to nibble, it would be 445-ish. I don't know if it's going to be that easy to hold right there. And then you have the 8-day is closer to 438 now. So I'm probably not going to, I'm going to wait for a signal. I'm not going to add to it. I'm just not going to anticipate because I don't want to start my Monday off in case it goes lower like that. But, you have Tesla right here down 7 at 447. I might look around 445 at first kiss, but really, I don't know exactly how it's going to be. It just had a huge move. So we'll see. So you have 445 and 438. Write that down. 438, if you think Tesla is going to have an end of the year move through Christmas, which it might, just because Jonas says it's an equal weight doesn't mean anything, and it was extended. Then if we're to get to 438-ish, maybe that would be a good time to put on some options for, for the Friday of Christmas week, for that. I'm probably gonna do that. I only have little shares on. I don't have options on, so that's probably what I'm gonna do. For FYI, not Adam Jonas, a new analyst picked it up at Morgan. You sure, MLD? Let me see something. Watch. So I go over here. I actually retweeted it from here. I think I did. Let's see. This is Red Dog Mindset. No, it's this one. This is my Redler Premium. Let's see. Ed Yardeni, there's the Qs. This is what I posted in the morning. Could have sworn. Yeah, hold on a second. Let's go search Wall Street real quickly. I'm pretty sure. Well, where's my guy Wall Street Engine? Let's see. Where is Tesla? Tesla. Give me one more second here. Bank of America. And I don't want to waste all my time here in the morning with you guys. So all I give you guys is 20 minutes. BlackRock. Bank of America. Well, by the way, you guys should follow Wall Street Engine. He comes up with a lot of the news in the morning, where you can see what's happening, et cetera, et cetera. All right, SanDisk, Tesla. Okay, here. Adam Jonas. Yeah, so Adam Jonas. FYI, it is Adam Jonas. Analyst Adam Jonas. So anyway, this is the Tesla equal weight from overweight. But anyway, so that's that. So anyway, so we'll see. I do have small, and I'm gonna probably buy a little bit, maybe at 445, maybe at 438. It's not a big deal. We were very extended. If anything, this could be an opportunity. It won't feel good today because it'll be lower, but anyway. Now as far as S&P 500, what are those idiots doing? Carvana, CRVNA is what they're adding to the S&P. Like, I wonder who paid them. I'm not saying that happens, but someone had to have paid, what is CR? What's the symbol? CVNA? Up 9%. So they chose CVNA over Marvell, which is a fantastic chip company that's now down 5. That's a pain in the butt. I, over SoFi, because these are what they thought would be on there, which is only down 11 cents. And the other one that was in the running was Reddit. So Reddit's down $1.60. So anyway, so this is what they chose. So if you took options in CVNA and you guessed right, congratulations. That's that's kind of a little a little wishy-washy. But anyway, all right. So let's move into other things that I'm looking at. I am in Google options. Google looks good. But again, these things, this looks like one of the better setups for the week. You would think. It's done nothing. They hit a high on November 25th. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 2 weeks later of sideways to let the 8-day catch up. So you would think Google could continue to go into year end. So I am long some Google calls. I bought them around 315. If it were to get above 322, it can go. Google's off a little bit this morning. Not sure why. It's down $1.60. So maybe this is a good opportunity, to buy a little Google if you want it for this week. So Google's right there. And it's down $1.70 at 319, not the end of the world. But so Google's a decent setup, a better setup than the other ones. I will say that Amazon's been a big pain, sloppy as hell. You look back at the chart, though, of Amazon, you'll see that, hey, this wedge broke to the downside here. And that was your clue to get the hell out of the way with Amazon. And then it gave you a red dog reversal here. So if you were out of the way, that was a great entry. And then I did a topping tail into 239. So if Amazon's going to be any good, it should hold this. I did buy some options for 1226. If it were to get better, I would think it has to get above and stay above this 233.50. But again, Amazon's been a pain all year. It really has. You skipped on Amazon because of it. No, I hear you. Meta, yeah, Meta is, this is a good clean setup. So I think Meta's got a good setup also besides Google, where you could be long versus 660, and then you do have a hell of a gap. This is their earnings gap above, which is at 680, and this is 676, right? So you could be long Meta now versus 660. This is the parameter. I frame trades for T3. I frame trades for the 630 club. I frame them so you can measure your risk, right? So Meta's down $1.76, which is probably a better setup than higher. Can it hold above this? That's 660. Now this is 662. So you can even give it a little less room. So will it make a higher low? Will it go green? So will it get tighter here? So you can be long versus 660, 662. And then if it starts getting above 676, then you have 680, and then you have a whole gap here. So hopefully, this is something this is now on the B+ list. This was, off the list. It wasn't doing great. And then remember, we bought it around 602. So I do think that Meta is a good trade for this week. Palantir's been pretty good. I get it. So you want to talk Palantir for a second? Palantir, there are a lot of shorts still here. I think it's been pretty impressive, better than Nvidia lately. So yeah, Palantir looks a little bit higher. It's above the moving averages. Not an A+ trade, not leading the market, but definitely wouldn't be fighting the short. ASTS was one of my best trades last week. Somebody asked about, but it could pause here. This is when I was telling you guys to buy it. I bought it at 57.80. Had no idea it would get up to 75.10. There's some talk out there that Paul Tudor Jones took a stake. I don't know if he did or he didn't. But if you got out here at the red dog reversal, you were able to rebuy it down here. You know what this chart looks like? It looks kind of a little bit like iron. Iron is getting better. It's rebuilding. Iron is a name that my friends still love for next year. They just raised a ton of money down here. They forced it lower, 39. Remember, if I'm like, you guys could buy it back at 41. It's going sideways here. I don't think it's kind of a crazy move like ASTS did, but I do think you could be buying some of this for next year here, maybe buying some calls for it's 12/8 now for Christmas week if some news comes out. Yes, Iron Sisters are CIFR, the Wolf and Core. So why not go for the head that's going to bark? Go for the leader. Rah, 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 rah. That's Iron. Yeah, you want to look at the other ones? There's a whole group here. I get it. This actually is hanging out a little bit better. I haven't looked at this in a little while. Because there's not as many eyeballs on it. But yeah, this looks pretty good too. If this group is going to stay in here and rebuild, there is there is room here. So yeah, if you want to look at the group together, you have Iron, CIFR, you have the Wolf. Yeah, Poet and BBR similar. Poet was a great trade last week for a lot of you guys. A lot of you guys that got caught up here, which I did, tripled up down here. And now let's see if it acts better, right? This is supposed to also be a next year story. A next year story. Sometimes next year stories take time, but like 3, 6, 9, 12 months out. Not, but then again, if we're going to be looking at other names, the other names have to start flexing their muscles. And right now, this is not one of them, but this is something you should do some research on for next year. This is a next year story. Remember last Monday at this time, I told you guys about Path. I was on the 3 o'clock Stocks on Spaces, and Stock Talk was talking about how he was, getting more heavily involved. I'm like, you know what? I like Path. I'm going to buy options. I bought options here, the $15 calls, sold them on Friday for a lot of money, and I gave you guys it on Tuesday and Wednesday before the numbers. I actually showed you the weekly chart of this. I'm like, hey guys, you want to make some money? This stock has been battered and bruised, came public at the wrong time. It's frustrated the hell out of everybody, but guess what? That was then, this is now. So if you bought some options, who bought some what's it called here? Anyway, with that said, I think there's room to at least 26.55 next year. So just because it got to 18.74 or around there doesn't mean it's over. It just means it was a great trade last week. Congratulations if you made that trade your own. I did, and so you should tune in to 3 o'clock. There's a lot of good brain capital there. But anyway, this is the weekly chart. It looks good. Thank you. It was, just a collaboration. Sometimes everybody collaborates and it gives people, some conviction. Someone asked me, what about Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin kind of held where it had to this weekend. It made a higher low. It's not a headwind this morning. It's still kind of like a problem, but it's trying. It is trying. It just held here, right? So it just held where it kind of had to again. So you have 80,000, 83,000, came down, tested the 88,000. So that's your new point of reference. So, it's not looking like a momentum trade, but at least it's not a headwind right now. And maybe it'll be an indicator this week. Got up to 94. I did buy some options on Friday with the Alpha team, for Christmas week, just in case it wanted to do a higher low, which it did. And now we'll see, if it wants to work its way up towards the 50-day, which is lower now. It's not a 98 anymore. It's like 97. This is not a momentum trade. There's no power here yet. All it is doing, it's struggling to hang in there. So, you have to be very, very careful on your prices when something's struggling. Ken wants me to look at VIAV for everybody. VIAV. All right. I've obviously had never looked at it before because I didn't market the charts. First thing that stands out to me is a big pro gap that held here. Next thing, above the 8-day, holding higher. And, right there is it already started to go on Friday. So this is a very good, very strong stock. So if you're in it, Ken, congratulations. Earnings are tomorrow. Well, then you better be careful. You do not want to screw yourself up on Christmas week. What else? Nvidia. Let's talk about Nvidia real quick. I haven't been that active here. Last Monday at this time, when Nvidia was down $2, I said I think it's going to reclaim 176.50, and we had a great 2-day trade. And then I didn't trade it the rest of the week. That was right here. So maybe there's another trade. Maybe it gets above and stays above this 185, takes back the moving averages, and gives us a trade to 191. This was the trade from last week. That was then. This is now. It actually held higher. Nvidia is looking a little bit better. Little bit. You say a little bit. Red Dog says a little bit. So you could be in this first 179 and see if there's any power to take out 185.66. It's getting tighter. Nvidia looks better. Okay, what are you saying? So someone's saying Andrew Perko is taking over Tesla coverage of Morgan Stanley from Adam Jonas, who now covers AI. Okay, so that's cool. IWM, you want me to look at? IWM is holding tight, very tight up here. Looks like it's going to take out this 252. The question is it going to take it out pre-Fed or not? Pre-Wednesday or not? Where it'd probably be better if it doesn't, because then they'll probably just sell the news no matter what. IWM's up $1.20. Look at that. Gets above 252.77. Yeah, it's been a nice trade. Some of my guys are buying it versus the 8-day here at 245. When the IWM and the small caps above the 8-day, you want to be long some small caps. What are some? Oh, NVTS. I like this name. You know, I think this can go towards 12ish. Usually likes to move with Nvidia because it's, I think Nvidia owns a portion of them. I would say this thing can go to 12. Some of my guys love QS. I don't think they came out with any news today. They're waiting for this news about an OEM or this and that, and it's hanging in here. Not so great. Energy, yes, XLE, energy. It just split 2-for-1, and everything's got to adjust. So we'll see. I have options on for like December and January, and then they screwed up all the option prices on Friday. That was a little annoying. But anyway, we'll see. Energy, I was telling you guys, I think is a big time story for next year. We'll see if that develops. The weekly chart here, it's everything. Yeah, I got to redo everything because they split it and my lines are all wrong. But we'll redo that. I'll do that with the Alpha team later. I don't want to get into it now because we only have sugar honey iced tea at 6:54 already. Let's leave you with something juicy. I think this iron is interesting this week. Same way ASTS rebuilt and was broken. I do think that they haven't said anything in a while. They just they just did a big money raise. I would think that they told the people that they took a block down at 41 that, hey, we have some good news coming out. So once it filters through here, chances are that could be a move. So out of all the super growth names, what I would do is maybe go out and buy some like $51 calls. You could probably go out, not this Friday, go out the following Friday to give yourself some time. Just a little something. NBIS, please. Okay, NBIS, what's that doing? It's hanging around. I got to say, Prince from the Inner Circle, he was buying ugly. That's what he calls it. And now I guess you could say it's trying to move higher. Not a great pattern overall, but if any name is going to be okay for next year in this in this super growth arena, I would think this. What's this high here? This is 103.84. Just got to be careful with your pricing. Sometimes it feels good, sometimes it doesn't. It did break, and I would think this 141 is not going to be the high of 2026. So it's in a rebuild stage, just like a lot of these other names. I would think it's something you could definitely look at. The banks have been super strong. Like I posted Morgan Stanley last week, when it was tight right in here, and what a nice move. Goldman Sachs, that chart looks fantastic too. Posted that last week also, breaking out. So there's a lot to do, a lot to like. Just got to keep moving your feet. This week is going to be interesting. Again, what do they do between now and Wednesday? The Fed, everyone thinks it's going to be a rate cut, but the question is it a hawkish cut? Do they sell the news and that would kind of like make things choppier and volatile into Christmas, or do they extend this through highs, and can we just have much of positions on or not? We're going to see. At this point, I think a lot of people had a great 2025 trading wise. You don't want to put it in jeopardy from December 8th through the end of the year, but you want to stack some days. So if you want to be tactical and stack days and add them up so you can get a paycheck in Christmas, or December, I get it. I get paid quarterly. I'm working on my fourth quarter, which is a good quarter. For those of you, again, who want me to do the 6:30 Club on Fridays, because all I do is 6:30 Club. This video that I just did for you now, I've been doing since 2020 for free, Monday through Thursday. Everyone's like, Red Dog, we want it on Fridays too. Well, if you do, subscribe to the Red Dog Mindset above, and in 2026, I'll do it on Fridays. Plus you'll grandfather yourself in for, the Monday through Friday. I do think that 20 to the 6:30 Club is a great power punch to get yourself organized and ready to go for the day. Only $10 a month versus, for all of the X's and O's and the 40 charts and everything, which, people do use and they have a lot of success with. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that now. Bottom line is, we'll see how we hang in here. I'll leave you with the chart of the Qs because I didn't do the Qs. The Qs hit 628. I think you could put this here now. The question is, what kind of action do we get here in the Qs prior? This is what's low is. This is 623.71. 623.71. That is the low from Friday. This is your high. This is your all-time high. Here's your 8-day moving up. The 617 isn't as important. It's really right around here. This is 619-ish. We'll see what happens today. Looks like everything's kind of mixed. It's a mixed bag. So take it slow. Start the week. You want to always, you start on the right foot. And stack some days and let them add up. It's been a great year. Right now you have that little lull between Thanksgiving and Christmas where you should be getting back on track. Maybe eat a little less, drink a little less, get your mind right. So come Christmas time, Christmas holidays, and all those things, going in there like a bag of what. Anyway, Mommy Money says thank you. You have a great day also. And you want me to look at you? Okay, well, I'm going to leave it with you. Unity Software has been a great stock. Came right back to highs. I haven't looked at this in a little while. Guys from the 3 o'clock show really like this. I think Logical he does a lot of mid-cap work. As long as it holds here, it looks pretty good. This was the last time I was pretty involved here, and then it broke, and I just haven't looked at it since. It's in the game. It's in the game. Stocks that are above the 821 day are in the game. Below, got to be a little bit more tactical. You guys know that drill. All right, I'll see you a little bit later. I'm about to go hang out with the Alpha team, do about 40 charts, get the morning call done, and get on that radio, and then I'm going to do my Sirius XMSR video. For those of you who like talk radio, 9 o'clock, if you're in the car, tune into Sirius XMSR. I'll be on with Janet like I am every Monday, and then 3 o'clock on Spaces. But in the meantime, I'm going to be trading and trying to make a living just like you guys. Later, my dogs.